Me and my cousin got arrested for smoking dope. And the day we went to court, the judge decided to give us a second chance instead of sending us to jail. So the judge told us to go out that weekend and try to convince others that doing drugs are bad. When Monday came, it was time for us to give our results to the judge. The judge asked me how did I do over the weekend. I said, well, Your Honor, I persuaded 20 people to give up drug use forever. The judge was happy to hear that. He said, I can't believe you convinced 20 people. Please tell me how you did it. I told him that I used a diagram and I drew two circles on a piece of paper, one big circle and one small circle. Then I said I used this diagram to tell those people that the big circle is your brain before using drugs and the small circle is your brain after using drugs. The judge told me that he was impressed and then he moved on to my cousin. He asked my cousin how did he do over the weekend. My cousin told the judge that he persuaded 160 people to give up drugs forever. The judge looked really impressed. Then he said, wow, 160 people, how did you manage to do that? My cousin said, well, I used a similar diagram and I also drew two circles, one big and one small. Then he said, Your Honor, I pointed to the small circle and told those people that this is what your butthole looks like before you go to prison. When I used to work as a police officer, I remember pulling this lady over for speeding, and she couldn't be no older than 40. Anyways, when I walked to her window and I asked her to roll it down, she asked me, was there a problem? So I politely told her that she was speeding. And when I asked to see her license, she told me that she couldn't give it to me because she didn't have one. So I was confused. I said, you don't have one. And that's when she told me she lost it 5 years ago for drunk driving. I was like, okay, well, can I see your vehicle registration papers? And again, she told me she couldn't do that either. And when I asked her why not, she told me that she stole the car. So I was like, you stole this car? And she was like, yes, because I killed the owner. Now at this point, I'm just flabbergasted. I said, you what? And that's when she told me that the owner's body parts were in plastic bags inside the trunk. Now that's when I slowly backed away from the car and I called for backup. And 5 minutes later, 6 of my fellow police officers circled the car. And that's when a senior officer got out of his car and slowly started to approach the car the woman was in. He politely told her to step out of the vehicle, so she did. And then she asked him, was there a problem? And that's when he told her that I told him that she stole the car and murdered the owner. The woman started to look confused. She said, murdered the owner? The officer said, yes. Now can you please open the trunk of your car? And when she opened the trunk, there was nothing inside of the trunk. It was completely empty. So the officer asked her, was that her car? And she said yes, while handing him the registration papers that I asked for earlier. So at this point, I'm just standing there looking confused. Then he said, well, one of my officers also claimed that you didn't have driver's license. And that's when the lady dug inside of her purse and handed him her license with no problem. So while he's looking at her license, he's also confused. But anyways, he handed back her license and thanked her. He said, I am so sorry, but one of my officers told me that you didn't have no license and you stole this car and murdered the owner. And that's when the lady started giving me the side eye. She said, and I bet that liar told you that I was speeding too. So I had court today because I had a couple of tickets, but there was this man there that was being charged with murdering 24 children and 6 adults. I think he was a bus driver, but anyways, I was trying not to be nosy because I wouldn't want nobody in my business either, especially while I'm in court because it's just nothing but strangers there. So I'm just sitting there waiting for my turn, but I heard the judge ask him why did he kill all those innocent people. And I wanted to know too, so I just tuned in a little bit. And the man was just standing up there looking all sad, talking about he didn't mean to do it. And I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, well, if he's a bus driver, maybe this was a mistake. Like sometimes you can just lose control of the wheel or something. It happens all the time. Well, anyways, the judge gave the man a chance to explain what happened. He said he was driving to a bus station, so I guess he was a bus driver. But anyways, he said he saw a rabbit on the road, so he swerved into the woods and accidentally hit a tree. Then he went on to say that he managed to escape, but all the other people on the bus didn't make it in time, and the bus exploded. And that's when the judge asked him, well, why didn't you just run over the rabbit? Because that could have saved a lot of people. The man looked at the judge and said, that's exactly what I was trying to do, but it ran into the woods.